So let's shift our attention to actual crypto, DeFi. And I want to start out with a little bit of a funny topic with this first, because it's been making its rounds in terms of hex spaces and stuff like that. And a lot of people have been, it's become a meme at this point, and it's interesting because in a day after it really started to become a meme, we actually got a legit PulseChain update in detail from Richard Hart, I guess primarily, or from one of the devs anyway, like one of the actual devs, I believe through Telegram. But Ewok, what do you make about this little meme going around? A dev told me meme where everybody has some secret circle in the dev community where they have this information around PulseChain, and some of the PulseChain cheerleaders, I guess, for lack of a better term, on Twitter. Yeah, what do you make of the meme? Because I think I saw some pretty funny stuff over the last couple of days.
Well, I get a kick out of it too. I think it's good that people are at least using humor, and some of the recipients of those have been pretty good sports about it as well. I know Katie is in one of the dev chat private chats, and she's kind of affiliated through Power City with some of the other devs. So she actually does get some updates, and then you get other people piling on, and then we see Richard's update, which, was even better. There's actual things happening that kind of validated what she was saying. So, again, I'm glad people are using humor. And to make light of the fact that we've been, going on 2 years now waiting for PulseChain. So, I mean, I think it's funny. My mother's brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles are dev, and they told me 3 hours. So,
right. Yeah, I've talked before about I just want to know when it's out. Like, I get sick of the constant update. I just don't want to pay attention to them, because to me, the awesome thing about this crypto bear market at large is there's way more going on than there used to be. As you can attest to, Ewok, like back in 2018, 2019 and stuff like that, there was nowhere near as many things to get involved with and do.
Not in the bear market. No, I mean, people left. People ran. Well, a lot of people were broke, or the ones that weren't broke were hiding, because they were, evading the police. So, yeah, it's a definite different scenario this time around. There are people building, there are people preparing. It's a very positive thing to see all these things that are getting ready for PulseChain. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's other stuff going on to get involved with, which is awesome. We didn't have this kind of DeFi stuff going on, in 2018, 2019. So there's just a lot more you can do. I mean, I'm not necessarily into this, but I mean, real crypto people every single day can be transacting constantly and making money in some form, in DeFi right now.
Well, and that's another thing. That stuff didn't exist, right? The last cycle, your real true DeFi that isn't affected by the market cycle, other than price, obviously, but the real DeFi that will continue to run and can't be turned off, that wasn't there. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, I just mean whether it's liquidity providing and even just staking. Staking through DeFi and things like that. Obviously, people are minting Zen. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on where people have been profiting in one way or another in many different ways in this bear market. So it is a very cool thing. And I think that people, man, I mean, we've beat on this drum a million times, but why not do it again? But with the PulseChain thing, with the PulseChain not being out yet, a lot of people sacrificed for PulseChain. A lot of people sacrificed for PulseX. Remember what sacrifice meant. You may never see that money again. You have to remember that, okay? That's the whole purpose of it being a sacrifice. That's why Richard set it up that way, okay? I don't know what you're expecting out of this at this point. You sacrificed for a reason. And, if you want tokens that have no value to be presented to you eventually, well, you need to get into a venture capitalist mindset. A lot of these guys that do that kind of thing, first off, they don't over leverage themselves and put a shit ton of money in that they can't afford to lose like all these people did. But they also understand that there's a time horizon here. And it's a couple of years. And we now are at the point where PulseChain, like you just said, Ewok, is approaching that like couple of year time frame. If you are somebody, because way more people sacrifice for PulseX than for PulseChain, simply because I think of time. But
Sure.
you know, at this point, if you sacrifice just for PulseChain, it's only been a little over a year. Or excuse me, PulseX. It's only been a little over a year. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, if you think you're going to get like a exactly, if you think you're going to get 1,000x or 10,000x or something like that out of these free airdrops you're going to get, you know, wait 5 years. Like, what are you so upset about right now? Find something else to do. I'm telling you, like, you can't be concentrating on that. And that's why I know some like it. I know you do, Ewok. I know a lot of the Hex people do. I don't care about like all the updates. I don't understand the dev speak anyway. I'm not going to like sit there by a thread. You know, dude, we were sitting here 1 calendar year ago thinking it was going to be out for a month from now. Like, seriously. I mean, I know people forget that, but like a whole bunch of people thought this thing would be out in February of 2022. Like, I'm not worried about it. Like, it'll be out when it's out. I enjoy the updates when they come from Richard, but you know, there's other stuff to do right now. So,
well, you brought up a good point there with the shit. I totally lost my train of thought.
The sacrifice idea.
Well, the sacrifice, yes, but the VC money. So when VCs get into projects, they usually have about a 4-year time frame, actually, because it takes them about 2 years to do the code. And then once it releases, they're actually locked, most of them, for 2 more years. You know, they don't want them dumping on the heads of everybody that's trying to get in, get it established. So they usually have about a 4-year commitment. So that was an excellent point, you know, that you made, that if people had that mindset, we wouldn't have seen as much dumping and pissed off people, I think, or over leveraged. If there was a little disclaimer on it that said, you know, you're basically, when you sacrifice this money, you're not only doing it for freedom of speech and freedom of movement, but you're also looking at probably a 3 to 4 year timetable. Now, I didn't think they thought it would take that long. However, you know, he did know software was hard. So then you get into that whole expectation of profit from the work of others, right? So you kind of have to be really careful of what you say, no matter how you say it. Whether you put a time limit on it, then you know people are working for your benefit. It's a very fine line that you have to walk, I think, in order to you know, be within the laws and also keep people happy that you know are expecting something when they really shouldn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you know, I think it's just a fact. I've talked about this before too, in relation to Hex and really, you know, all of crypto. It's not just Hex, but you know, you got to remember that there are a lot of young people here that are either young in like years of life, but also young in years of investing, and they don't understand concepts like that. And, you know, maybe they already have had wild success and stuff like that in crypto, and think that everything's going to go exactly the same way on a time that they demand. And it's just not going to be like that. So, you know, I hate to be the cliche boy, but I mean, good things come to those who wait. Find something else to do to be productive. I think that's just what, you know, what you've got to do in these kind of instances.